Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, it's me Najihah Binti Muhammad Zamrisham, وأنا من المجموعة 440 ورقم الجماعي هو 224066.
My name is Nurul Hana Binti Abdul Halim. My metric number is 224678.
Assalamualaikum. اسمي Shafizah binti Khafi. أنا من مجموعة 440. الرقم الجامعي هو 224146.
Welcome to the first slide, which is Introduction to Energy Transfer. What is energy transfer? Energy transfer is the changes of energy from one form to another, and energy transfer can happen from three different mechanisms, which is conduction, convection, and radiation. And all of these three happen when there is changes in temperature. So, in order to have a better understanding on energy transfer, we will apply by using the home installation and cooking utensil. So please stay until the last slide.
Before we jump straight into our main topic for today, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the theory. The first law of thermodynamics is often stated as energy can neither be created nor destroyed in a system of constant mass, but it can be converted from one form to another. This topic is actually related to heat and work, and also the internal energy, where delta U, change in internal energy, equal to Q, energy transferred as heat, plus W is the net work done on or by the system. But today, we are not going to the calculation, but instead, we are going to learn about the concept. From the statement of the first law of thermodynamics, we understand that energy can be converted into another form. But how? So today, we are going to talk about three types of energy transfer mechanism in thermal processes, which is the thermal conduction, where it happens in all transparent mediums such as solid, liquid, and gases. And the second one is convection, where it only occurs in liquid. And the last one is radiation, where it takes place in space.
So what is conduction? Conduction is the process of energy transfers by heat. So when does conduction happen? Conduction occurs when two things at different temperatures touch each other and energy directly transfers from the material in the hotter object to the material in the colder object at the point of the contact. So where does conduction occur? It can occur in liquid, solid, gaseous objects, as long as there are differences in temperature. So how does it happen? As molecules heat up, they begin to vibrate, which causes them to transfer kinetic energy to other molecules they come in contact with. For example, you hold one end of a long metal bar and insert the other end into a flame. You will find that the temperature of the metal in your hand soon increases. This is because the energy reaches your hand by means of conduction. Initially, before the rod is inserted into the flame, the microscopic particles in the metal are vibrating about their equilibrium position. As the flame rises the temperature of the rod, the particles near the flame begin to vibrate with greater and greater amplitudes. These particles, in turn, collide with their neighbors and transfer some of their energy in the collisions. Slowly, the amplitude of vibration of metal atoms farther and farther from the flame increase until eventually those in the metal near your hand are affected. This increased vibration is detected by an increase in the temperature of the metal and of your potentially burned hand. So this is the law of thermal conduction, and from the equation we can say that the energy transfer per second at the left part of the picture is equal to the energy transfer at the right part. So this is the equation for conduction between several slabs. It is the same as the previous, but we use the sum of R value. So what is R value? R value is L over K, which is the thickness of the slab over thermal conductivity. R value is used to determine the strength of one insulator. So for home insulation, we will use material that has high R value like fiberglass insulation. First question, why conduction occurs? This is because the difference in temperature between two parts of the conducting medium resulting heat transfer from the hotter to the colder surface. Second, why does the food feels hot after being cooked in a heating point? So conduction occurs when two substances at different temperatures are in contact. Energy is always transferred from the substance with the higher temperature to the one at the lower temperature. As energy is transferred from the hotter substance, which is the hot pot, to the colder one, which is the food, the colder substance gets warmer and the hotter substance gets cooler. Eventually, the two substances become the same temperature and the food is the same temperature as the hot pot. So why does it take shorter period to cook food in a heating metal than a non-metal? This is because metal is a good thermal conductor. Next, why is metal a good conductor? This is because its thermal conductivity K is high. So higher K resulting to higher rate of energy transferred by heat.
So now I'm going to explain one of the means of energy transfer, which is convection. So in order to have a better understanding of the convection, I will apply 5W1H method and YYNS method. So stay tuned. Alright, now we will go for the first question. What is convection? Well, convection is a process by which heat is transferred by the movement of the heated fluid, such as air and water. Alright, for this slide, I will explain the three main W, which is why, when, and where. So the first part is, why did convection happen? Well, convection happened as a result of the tendency of the fluid to expand when heated. For example, when water is heated, the hot water will expand and it will become less in density. Thus, it will rises to the top. Alright, we will move to the next question, which is, when will convection happen? Convection happens when there is a difference in thermal energy in a fluid. When there is a difference in thermal energy, thus it will be increased in its temperature and molecular kinetic energy. Thus, the molecule will spread out and its density will be lessened. Alright, now we will move on to the next question, which is, where will convection happen? So please take note, convection only happens in fluid, which is liquid and gases. And why? Because molecules in liquid and gases are free to move, thus it is easily to rise and sink. So for this slide, I will explain how does convection work. So from this video, you can see here, when the person added a purple liquid and then he heated it, thus there will be a difference in temperature, and the heated water, which is the purple liquid, will rise as it now has a lower density, while the water added above will go downwards as it now has higher density. Thus this movement will cause a circulating flow. Alright, now to have a clear understanding on what convection really is, I will now apply the YY analysis by using the cooking utensil application, which is boiling water. So the first question is, why did convection happen when we are boiling water? So if we cap it back, convection happens when there is a movement in heated fluid. So in this case of boiling water, the heat from the burner will transfer into the pot by using conduction, which has been explained by my friend. And thus the water at the bottom will be heated and it will rise to the top, while the water at the above, which is the cooler one, will go downwards. Thus it will cause a movement in the pot. Alright, so the next question is, why did convection happen only in heated fluid? Well, as you can see from the picture above, fluid tend to expand when it's heated, causing the molecules to be lighter. So from the picture you can see above, the water at the bottom will rise as it is now has less density, while the water at the above will go sinks downward because it now has higher density. So the next question is, why did the hotter water will be rises? while the cooler one will sink. So the answer is, when we are boiling water, there will be a temperature difference between the water at the bottom and the water at the top. So the water at the bottom now will become the hotter one, while at the top will become the cooler one. The hotter one now will have a lower density compared to the top one. So the heated water at the bottom will rise as it is now lighter, while the water at the top will sink as it now has higher density. So as you can see the picture above, there will be a circulating flow because the hotter one will rise while the cooler one will go downwards. So now we can conclude that convection happens when there is temperature differences between the fluids.
A part of thermal conduction and convection, the heat may transfer by radiation. What is radiation? Radiation is basically the transfer of energy from its origin to surroundings. The radiation occurs when the heat transfer from an object with a high temperature to another with a lower temperature, and those objects are not in a direct physical contact with each other, or they are in a separated space. It is different between the other two since radiation doesn't need any medium to transfer, but how it is possible? It is happen when the microwaves, infrared radiation, visible light, or in another form of electromagnetic radiation is emitted or absorbed, and it is occurs across space or any transparent medium such as solid or fluid or gases. You must wondering, why did the radiation occurs, or why is it possible to radiation occurs in space? Basically, in radiation, heat moves as energy waves called infrared waves directly from its source to something else, and in the space, the heat is transferred via electromagnetic waves, and it does not require any particles to carry the heat energy. Besides that, radiation is able to transfer through transparent medium because all physical substances in solid, liquid, or gaseous states can emit energy via a process of electromagnetic radiation because of vibrational and rotational movement of their molecules and atoms. Everyone, have you ever go to the heating pot, or maybe just being that near to them and feel hot even without touching it? It is actually because the heat waves radiate out from the hot objects, which is the heating pot, in all directions, traveling at the speed of light until they hit another object and transfer the heat to the object. When the heat waves hits the cooler thing, they make the molecules of the object speed up. When the molecules of the object speed up, it becomes hotter. It will feel hotter when it is near to the black heating pot because the dark surface is a good emitting and absorbing infrared radiation. The more hot it is, the more radiation it emits.
Lastly, we can conclude all the three thermal energy transfer with this single picture. Firstly, we have radiation, the energy from the fire that radiated or transmitted in the form of rays or waves or particles. Next, we have conduction, when the transfer of heat or electric current from the boiling water to the handle by direct contact. And lastly, we have convection, which is the transfer of heat through a fluid, either liquid or gas. And this is caused by molecular motion, meaning the hotter fluid at the bottom of the pot will go up and the less hot ones will go down, and this will rotate in circular motions.